whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Whose car are we gonna take?
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Yes, there is a show. I appreciate you all coming to the Nikki Medoro show on this fabulous and not as cold Monday morning. And it's so funny. I'm talking loudly, Kim, and I don't even care because my children are home. I'm assuming your children are home. Yes.
Oh yeah, everybody's here.
And
Full
so my
house.
daughter has a friend over spending the night, and I told her, I was like, look, I'm gonna be talking in my loud voice. Starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, so don't stay up too late. So I think we're getting the kids
Who
up.
starts
with
us
my stuff.
off? Ooh, SJ Lola, $20. Aloha, listening
Lola.
live in beautiful Maui. Aloha to you, SJ Lola.
Aloha. I am so jealous. And thank you for the $20 donation. And I'm stoked that you guys are here. I was kind of worried, Kim. I was like, oh, are we going to have our crew here this morning? Because it is a holiday. But thank you, SJ Lola, and all of you guys for being here today. We have a fabulous show. In the second part of this hour, we are going to be joined by former Oakland Mayor and California State Treasurer candidate, Libby Schaaf. And so she's going to talk with us. It is MLK Day. And so when I was communicating with her, I was like, I want you to talk about why you want to stay in public service, because that's what you're supposed to do on MLK Day. Use this moment to kind of live by the words of Martin Luther King Jr. of giving of self and those sorts of things. You know, you'll see it all over today. There's volunteer opportunities. Not that you should just wait until MLK Day to do this, but it is a day of service. And so I'm excited to welcome Libby Schaaf back to the show. And so that'll be in about a half hour or so that she'll be joining us. It was a nice weekend here. I want to show you a map. Hold on, lower my thing. Can I just show you this map real quick? You know, I was talking with somebody about how expensive it is to live in California and the Bay Area. And I was like, it's because you cannot export our weather. I don't give a crap where you live. It's better to live here. So the Bay Area specifically, look at this map, is the warmest in the country. I mean, besides Miami, right?
Not always that way, but you know, hey, we'll take it.
Right now, I would much rather live here than anywhere else. So,
where's it? 42? Is that Atlanta? What is that? Yeah.
Where are you looking?
Oh,
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold. And then there was supposed to be only one football game tonight, Kim. I don't know if you're up on your football. I am, of course. They're having 2 Monday games. One starts at 1:30 our time, which is insane. Hopefully you have the day off. And then it's because the Bills-Steelers game, New York was like, we cannot have people on the road right now. And so they had to ask people, like, look at this stadium. I want you to just look at the stadium. This is the Bills Stadium over the weekend. I mean, that is a ton of snow. I don't understand why places that have such terrible, awful, no good weather don't have a dome, but that's just me. And then they were paying people, I think, $20 an hour, any fans, to come help shovel the snow out of the stadium.
Oh, really?
So there's one guy, he's using it as, I don't know, an ice luge or something. He was like clearing the ice on his butt with no shirt on. Yeah, a lot of this stuff was going down. And then the Kansas City game, I don't have the picture. You can Google it. The Kansas City game was so freaking cold that people who bought beers, they froze and were like, you know, if you put a soda or a beer in a freezer and it explodes, it was exploding. Imagine paying, what, $20 for a beer? You got to keep it warm. It was insane.
This is so beyond my experience as a Californian, but I saw this video, like a quick little video of Travis Kelce posted on Facebook.
Okay.
And there was steam coming from his mouth when he spoke, right? And also off the top of his head after he took his helmet off. It looked like his head was on fire.
Oh, absolutely.
And it didn't stop. I guess it was the sweat or something.
It's heat from your body compared to the coldness of the out. That's all it is.
an uneducated California, I'm like, why is his head steaming? What's happening with that?
He is warmer than the outside.
Gotta be really cold.
But yeah, it's gonna be. We know who we're gonna play, and I'm so stoked. So thank you, Kim, for filling in by yourself on Friday. I'm off this Friday again because I'm in San Francisco, and then the following Monday, and it is again the morning drive, which is like. But I'm stoked that the Niner game is on Saturday and not Sunday. Because obviously I need to go to bed extremely early to wake up at 2:00 in the morning. So Niners play this Saturday against Green Bay, 5:15 our time. Go Niners. And congratulations, by the way, to the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. He's the quarterback, by the way. He's a Cal guy, local dude. He's born in the Bay Area. Detroit hasn't been, I think it's like 30 years or something like that. It's insane. How long it's been since they played. They are so excited. They have like Eminem, because Eminem's from Detroit, like doing the intro to the game. And by the way, the Lions game was literally against the Rams, was the only game this past weekend that was worth watching. All the other games weren't exciting. And then, if you can understand this, I'm watching the freaking game between the Lions and the Rams. Again, close game through the whole entire game. Very exciting. And all of a sudden, my husband goes, because we were behind, because we recorded it and we were behind to skip the commercials. He's like, yeah, let's watch something else. And I was like, it's cool. He's like, nah, the score doesn't change. He ruined, Kim, the whole entire game for me because he saw it on social media. And I'm like,
no.
Are you kidding me right now?
That's rude.
Thank you. I was so
sorry, James. Rude.
I was so, and he like looked at me. I'm like, you cannot do that. It was literally the only game that was good this weekend. All the other ones were like total blowouts. I was quite disappointed. So if you're going to sit through a football game, you want it to be exciting. Also today is the Iowa caucuses, which is kind of a ridiculous thing. If you have this image of the old way of doing caucuses where people stand in a gym and then like go to their corners, like they're choosing their best friend, that's not how it's done anymore. But it really doesn't have. Here's the thing. And I know I teased it in the show preview. You don't actually want to win the Iowa caucus, Kim.
Why?
Statistics show what especially amongst the Republicans, whoever wins the Iowa caucus amongst Republicans, more often than not, never wins the White House. So one of those.
Then go Trump, go.
Exactly. I'm like, let's hope that. Well, he'll use it either way. If he loses, he'll throw that stat out. And if he wins, he'll be like, see, let's get this ball going. You know what I mean?
I don't ever want those words to be pulled and used as a clip against me. So I'm just going to pretend I didn't say that.
Exactly. Right. She didn't mean it. Chris says, I'm in Iowa and my Prius won't start. That's funny. Iowa is, we were talking about cold, extremely cold. Can I just play you this clip of, now again, he's such a dick. Like, he's so he asks of others what he would never do for himself. Here is Trump again, leading up to the Iowa caucuses, and I get it. I get that he's probably joking, but it's such his MO that I can't stand him.
You can't sit home. If you're sick as a dog, you say, darling, even if you vote and then pass away, it's worth it. If you're sick, if you're just so sick you can't, darling, I don't think, get up. You get up, you vote. Yes, darling. Ultimately, we know who calls the shots, right?
So anyways, basically he's like, even if you're sick and even if you die later, just get up and vote. Yeah.
Really? On the coldest day of the year, practically, he wants you to raise your sick, weary body out of bed to vote for him.
He does. And it's so funny because he means it though. People are like, oh, he was just joking. You guys don't give him a break. And I'm like, actually, I don't think he's actually joking. I do think that he means it.
He does.
He does not give two craps if you die, as long as you vote for him. But there's a lot of campaigning obviously going on. Can I just say on a side note before we continue talking about the Iowa caucuses that I'm already fed up with the Adam Schiff and Katie Porter ads on my TV every 5 seconds.
I haven't seen any of them.
Oh, maybe you don't have Hulu Live. Every single time, like for instance, this morning I'm watching the local news. Every single commercial break, it's Adam Schiff and Katie Porter. Adam Schiff and Katie Porter. I'm like, oh God, it's begun. I already know who I'm voting for, so it doesn't matter to me. And I'm not knocking either of them. Obviously, that's the way you got to do it. But yeah, I'm pretty done. pretty done with the campaign ads. But what can you do? Okay, I want to play you this other clip. Back to the Iowa caucuses. This is Larry Hogan. He's the former Maryland governor. He's endorsed Nikki Haley. But here's what he was saying about the Iowa caucuses. And again, it's this question of, does it really mean anything? And the truth of the matter is, what happens today doesn't really matter.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Donald Trump is going to win Iowa tomorrow. And there's not much hope of anybody overtaking him. I think that's not a big surprise. I don't think it matters that much because, for the past 24 years, the winner of the Republican caucus in Iowa has not been the nominee. So it's really about the fight for second place. And, Ron DeSantis has put all the marbles on Iowa and spent all of his time and money and seems to be going in the wrong direction. I think Nikki Haley's got all the momentum. And what this race is really all about is to try to nominate the strongest possible nominee for November. I'm convinced that the momentum is with Nikki Haley, that she has the potential of moving into a second place, although it be at a distant second place, which gives her momentum heading into New Hampshire, where she's only 7 points down. And I think that's a real possibility. If she could potentially come in second place in Iowa, move on to New Hampshire, it's possible she could win, which would put her in much better position when she moves into her home state of South Carolina.
And I'm going to say this, if Nikki Haley, Iowa, if Nikki Haley wins New Hampshire, I think the momentum is going to be huge to move to her from even Trump people, because Trump carries so much baggage.
It'll give the people an excuse to go, okay, well, I was putting all my cards, behind Trump.
Right.
I didn't really want to, but I felt like he was the front runner. So I felt like that maybe I needed to do that because I just wanted a Republican in office.
Right.
But if she is the front runner, maybe that gives people the excuse they need to go, you know what? I'm ready to switch.
Exactly. And it's
don't
annoying, but I mean, I don't know why people
politics,
like. No, exactly.
But anything that keeps Trump out, I'm good, because I truly believe that a woman's right to choose is still at risk with Haley, with a Haley in the White House. However, I believe democracy is safe if she's there.
I would hope so. I really do. I just feel like Trump is this, and this is not a compliment, although some people love it. He's just a different breed of terrible, right? It's just he is the type of person that only cares about what benefits him and his family and his interests.
Yeah.
So if you really think he's going to be in the White House to fight for the people, he's going to fight for whatever works for him. And again, with the whole build the wall nonsense, Mexico's going to pay for it. These are just lines that he has his minions repeat. It's not actually true. He's made the whole drain the swamp thing. He didn't like that. And then it caught on. He's like, yeah, I'll still say it. He doesn't mean it. He is the swamp. They project what they are. You know what I'm saying? They project what they are. You heard that tragic story out of Texas, right? Texas, Greg Abbott, pro-lifer, has to have a say in whether or not a woman continues a pregnancy. Apparently, the border agents were prevented from helping some people drowning in the Rio Grande.
That would be a mother and 2 children, Nikki.
Ridiculous. What happened to protecting the sanctity of life? Oh, is it only Republican life? Is it only people that love you? You let this happen under your watch. That is on the blood is on the hands of Texas. And that is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I saw that story and I thought, who are we as
not
people?
We. Not we.
What is America? Is that what we stand for now?
No.
We're not going to help the little guy. We're not going to help a mom and 2 kids struggling in the Rio Grande. That's what we are. That's the nation we are. Yeah. Really. Honestly, it's I mean, horrific. I'm just so disgusted by that. They said not even the Texas officials, you can't get in, not even in an emergency.
Exactly.
So the federal border protection agents were prevented, and later on, the bodies of these 3 were found. And I'm so sad because we could have maybe prevented that. And we decided that we were so hateful toward immigrants and people that are brown on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday that we're going to let you drown in the Rio Grande before we come save you.
Yeah.
I'm disgusted.
I was horrified to see that. Randy says, I'm no Trump fan, but there seems to be a lot of angst about having Trump on the ballot again. Let him get on the ballot and then beat him decisively at the ballot box. Okay, I understand what you're saying, Randy. except for all of the charges against him. Because if you say you can be either found guilty or accused of very serious crimes and then still be an option for president, I feel that erodes the basic qualifications to be a leader of this country. It's a quick, in my opinion, erosion of rules and norms that we need to go back to. Trump proved that all of the quote unquote rules that we have were just like, well, you just don't do that. That's basically what a lot of this crap is. You just don't do that. You know, you don't have these private conversations. You don't say certain things. All these things that Trump did that were big no-nos before are seemingly to be fine. So now what are we saying? If we allow Trump on the ballot, we're saying you can incite an insurrection. You could say all the hateful things that you want. You could basically lie to the American people. And yeah, you could still have a shot at the presidency again. Underestimating the smooth way he has brainwashed so many people in this country is dangerous, in my opinion. I also have to be careful. Damn it, if she freaking gets the nomination, I was going to call you out, Gordon. I was like, what are you talking about? I attack Trump all the time. Damn it. Talking about Nikki Haley. Spelled the same way too. So that's going to be confusing for me if she does become the nominee and or president. I don't know. Is Nikki Haley dangerous for the country? I think that she can promote things that aren't well, that don't fall in line with what we want and the direction we want our country to go.
Yeah.
When she had said that transgender women in sports was the number one women's issue of our generation, I was flabbergasted. I was like, are you serious right now? Now, I'm not saying that it is not a valid debate to have about transgender women in sports. I do think that there is a compromise that we can find there. Absolutely. But to say with a straight face, Kim, with a straight face, that is the number one issue of the day when we just saw what happened with Roe v. Wade.
No.
I mean, I lost all respect for her.
Here's my issue with what Randy said. And so beat him at the ballot box. Okay, sure. Great. I'm all for the American way. You know, one person, one vote. The problem is with, you know, wanting Trump to get the nomination. Every step he takes closer to the White House is a step I feel more in danger.
Yeah.
And so I would much rather have a Nikki Haley or someone else. Like, I want him as far away from that place as possible. I don't want him to get onto the general ballot. Are you kidding me? Because every step he takes is a step I feel unsecure, in danger, and threatened.
Well, you know, again, he has to still make it there. We're still waiting for the court decisions as well. So it could be a moot point. Fingers crossed. We'll see. But again, I understand what you're saying, Randy. I really, really do. I do think that it gives him something to complain about if he's kept from the ballot and the American voters don't have a right to, all that kind of nonsense. But yeah, Trump is in a different league of his own. We're not talking about just any regular candidate. Okay, let's do a few headlines because coming up, we will be speaking with former Oakland mayor and current candidate for California State Treasurer, Libby Schaaf. Loved having her on when we were on KGO. Love having the fact that she's going to come on the Nikki Medoro show right now. And I just want to talk about not only why she wants to run for public service, because again, like we've been talking about, politics isn't easy. It's not easy to run for office. It's not easy to stand up there, especially I love the state of California. It's my home. I love the Bay Area. But again, people love to pick on California. They love to point to California. So why would you want to continue in public service, especially on this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, when a giving of yourself to public service is kind of the name of the game today and every day? So Libby Schaaf will join us in just a moment. But first, let's click that thumbs up button. Show your support for the show. We really do appreciate it. Again, the super chat is live. And thank you once again to SJ Lola. I'm so jealous, my friend, all the way from Hawaii, listening into the show and donating to the show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And again, the number one way to support the Nikki Medoro show and myself and Kim McAllister is to go to theNikkiMedoroShow.com, sign up for our monthly Patreon. And we really do appreciate it that way as well. All right, Libby Schaaf is coming up, but first, some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
It's different than radio, as you can see us instead of just hear us.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this. Iowa caucuses, as you were just mentioning, so cold. Republican voters in Iowa will be braving extreme cold to pick a presidential candidate. Wind chills expected to be nearly 30 degrees below zero, which could affect the turnout this evening. Former President Trump and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley are among the GOP contenders, exchanging verbal punches just hours before the caucuses start. Meanwhile, much of the United States is coping with this bone-chilling cold. About 100 million people are under some sort of wind chill alert. More than 100 daily cold records could be set to start the week today and tomorrow in states from Oregon all the way to Mississippi. Winter weather is causing more headaches for travelers again today. The planes stuck in the snow in some spots, but yeah, lots of delays. Looks like, according to flight tracker Flight Aware, more than 1,900 flights have been canceled and more than 3,700 have been delayed as of 8 a.m. Eastern. Denver International, Chicago Midway, and Chicago's O'Hare among those most impacted. Authorities are still on the search on the ocean and the beaches for survivors after a small plane crashed into the area off Half Moon Bay here in the Bay Area. This plane was found in the water near Moss Beach last night, just a few hours after people at a restaurant in Half Moon Bay, right at Half Moon Bay Airport, saw this plane flying erratically and then saw it disappear. Not clear how many people were aboard the plane. Authorities say there was poor visibility in the area at the time of that crash. So again, the search is ongoing. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin is finally out of the hospital. The Pentagon said he was released from Walter Reed National Military Medical Center today. Austin admitted to the hospital 2 weeks ago due to complications from prostate cancer surgery. And there was a big hoopla because he didn't inform, I guess, President Biden that he was actually going into the hospital and somebody needed to fill in for him.
Our thoughts and prayers go to him, but you should let your boss know if you have major surgery coming up,
well,
you know?
I mean, I would have let you know if I wasn't going to be here. And so I would think if you're the defense secretary that, your job's a little more important than mine. I don't know.
There's something else going on there. I mean, I don't know what it is. And again, maybe it's the image, right?
Yeah.
It's the perception of a weakness. He didn't want to do that.
Sure.
Again, he's a very important man.
Something to do with prostate was embarrassing. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean, I was talking about the fact that, I just had my colon cancer check. Like, you got to do these things. You hit a certain age, you should have been a promoter of it. Like,
yeah, but we live out loud. A lot of people are very private about these things.
Exactly. I know. Yeah. I hear you.
Speaking of jobs, nearly 40% of jobs around the world could be affected by artificial intelligence. Business leaders around the world, including the International Monetary Fund, are warning of the troubling trend they say will worsen inequality in the workplace. In a blog post yesterday, the IMF chief, Kristalina Georgieva, noted the more devastating impact AI could have on advanced economies like the U.S., as white-collar workers are considered more at risk than manual laborers. So AI is coming for us.
Yep, that manual labor, there's certain things that computers cannot do. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for a new career.
The stage is set, lastly, for the 75th Primetime Emmy Awards tonight. The awards ceremony originally scheduled for September, but it was delayed due to the writers and actors strikes. HBO's Succession leads the field with 27 nominations, including 14 acting nominations. The Emmys will air live from Los Angeles starting at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
I know. So there's a football game at 1:30. I think the next one's probably at 5:30. Yeah, that's a good time. Okay, I might tune in a little bit.
That's acceptable to you. You're okay with that?
Come on, does that fit into my TV watching schedule?
With the Nikki schedule? All right, as long as it works out for you. This report is crowdfunded and sponsored by you. Find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com, where the Patreon and the PayPal links are located. I'm Kim McAllister. This is The Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. I really do appreciate it. And I really do appreciate our friend, longtime friend of KGO and now of the Nikki Medoro Show. She was the former mayor of Oakland, and she is now running for a higher political office, California State Treasurer. Let's welcome Libby Schaaf to the show. Libby, I apologize. I will fix the name and spelling on my show. I don't know how I misspelled it. I spelled your name a million times when I was at KTO.
God.
But
Nikki, you're one of my best friends, and best friends do it. So, it's so great to see you. I feel like we went through the pandemic together.
Yes.
So it's just great to reconnect.
I'm so happy to hear your voice. I'm so happy to hear that you're staying in politics. So like I mentioned, you've thrown your hat in the race for California State Treasurer. I want to talk about that. But first, explain to people what you've been doing in between no longer being the mayor of Oakland and making this decision to run for treasurer.
Nikki, sleeping. I've been sleeping.
I love that.
I actually have been very busy this year. It's been a great year of continued service, of reflection and research. I got the amazing pleasure of running the Emerge California program. We recruit and train Democratic women because we are out to change the face of power in California. I also was asked by UC Berkeley to teach at their top-ranked public policy school.
Oh, nice.
And they had me teach public-private partnerships as well as public budgeting and finance. Now, don't go to sleep, everybody. Money actually makes a difference in just about everything that affects your life in the public sphere. And, that's part of my motivation for running for treasurer. And then finally, Nikki, I was really honored. Fancy Harvard, actually awarded me a senior fellowship in recognition of my work with the Oakland Promise. And it's been an opportunity to really think about how we can advance these place-based cradle to career continuums to really make sure that all of our children have every opportunity.
Now, explain a little bit more about Oakland Promise, because this turned into like a national program, if I'm correct. Is that right?
Well, it's considered a national model.
Oh, national model.
Funded only for Oakland.
Okay.
But we left it with the funding in place for the entire next generation of children in Oakland.
That's cool.
Every low-income baby gets a $500 college savings account at birth, and their parents are offered financial coaching. And then in kindergarten, every child, regardless of their income, gets a $100 scholarship. And if you want to see something cute, it's little kindergartners holding their scholarship certificates. It is the cutest thing ever. And just working to build a college-going culture in all of our schools, having coaches on campus to help parents set up their own college savings accounts, talk to their kids about education. And when I say college, it can be a 4-year degree, a 2-year degree, or a trade certificate. You were just talking about AI. Listen, AI cannot fix your sink.
No, it cannot.
So we are still going to need people in construction. There are so many great careers out there that can really support a family. And then, of course, we give every low-income student, and actually every student, something who gets into college. We give them a scholarship and what we call persistent support. And we just had our very first cohort of Oakland Promise scholars graduate from college. And it was at a rate that was 66% higher than Oakland overall. So clearly it's working. This idea of from cradle to career is where it's at, but also culturally competent, like grounded in this community because Oakland knows Oakland.
Yeah. And I think that you're so correct when you talk about, it doesn't seem like a lot, even though to a kindergartner holding a $100 scholarship is a lot. It's the mentality. And I feel like sometimes that can be the hardest thing to change about people, is like you look at your immediate surroundings and you think that this is all that it's going to be. And that could be at the family level, the city level, the county, or in our case, the state level, where, Governor Newsom just came out with, his budget plan and everybody's having their own opinions about it. So as a candidate for California State Treasurer, first off, explain what that umbrella holds. Because obviously, I would say the purse strings. You hold the purse strings. But explain it for people and why you want to be that and why you're the most qualified to be that.
Yeah. Yes and no. The treasurer is it doesn't actually like pass the budget, but the treasurer is like the chief investment officer and oversees a number of both financing programs. So just like you had to like get a mortgage on your house or take out a loan to buy your car, sometimes the state of California, in fact, often the state of California needs to actually borrow money to do the big important things like affordable housing, clean energy, pollution reduction, financing hospitals, education facilities. Each one of those has a finance authority that the treasurer oversees. Plus, there are a number of savings programs. Now, the Oakland Promise was one of several local college savings programs that actually lobbied the state to do this on a statewide basis. And so just a little over a year ago, California launched the largest college savings program in the country. It's called caucus. And if you, hey, aunties out there, moms, if you had a baby or you know a baby that was born in California after July 1st, 2022, there is actually a college savings account already established in their name with a little bit of money in it. You just have to go claim it. So you guys Google CalKids and see if your baby already has a college savings account. Chances are they do. And while the governor cut a lot of good things in his budget, one thing he did not cut was continuing to fund those college savings accounts and the baby bond program California has called HOPE. So these are, the treasurer runs 17 different programs.
Wow.
So everything from financing hospitals to these baby bonds, the treasurer oversees that. And, Nikki, you know me well enough. Like I'm a little geeky. I'm a geek girl. Like I love, these technical things in government, but I want to connect them to people's everyday lives. And I don't know any other mayor that is likely to be in this race. I'm not even sure if a mayor has ever been a state treasurer. But as someone who, has been so connected deeply to the people in my community, to connect what I see people feeling, their pain, their fear, their frustration, to, these incredibly powerful tools of finance and savings, that excites me.
Does it make a difference to the office of treasurer that we come from a place of we just had this massive surplus and now we have this deficit that we kind of are grappling with? We don't know exactly how much of a deficit we're in, but we're kind of estimating and we don't know. And does that make that job harder?
It does, because a lot of these savings programs, when they were set up, they made a promise. Like, we're not just going to serve this year's babies who are born. We're going to do it for next year's babies. But that has to be put in the budget every year. And both of these two programs I'm talking about, CalKids and then the HOPE Baby Bond program, they were established during those surplus years. And so it will take some advocacy to keep them going and to keep California's commitment to each new generation of children and families.
How much, power does the California treasurer have, or influence, I should say, influence, on which programs get to stay and which ones are cut, if any?
Well, Nikki, I'm glad you distinguish between those two things, because the treasurer's office does have certain powers, especially when it comes to financing affordable housing. I think that there are things that we could do that would help get a lot more affordable housing built. And housing is just one of California's biggest crises. You see it in the homelessness, you see it in the people that are moving out of our state because they just can't afford to live here. So that is under the treasurer's authority. But Nikki, nothing limits our influence. And today is a great day to really reflect on that. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. really didn't have technical power. And yet he will go down in history as one of the most influential people ever to live. And so to be the state treasurer of the 5th largest economy in the world will certainly carry influence. And I plan to use that influence unapologetically to stand up for everyday people.
Was there ever any pause to continue being in public service or politics in general? It seems like politics. It seems to the attention tends to be on the extremes when we know most people are in the middle, but a lot of attention gets on the extremes. Does that ever worry you? I mean, you were a target for former President Trump. You know what it's like to have that kind of criticism surrounding you, and yet you seem to want to continue in this public service political life. Why?
If not me, who? If not now, when? I mean, it's it's a famous quote.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, today's a day that I reflect on both the good and the bad of public service. This will be one of the first Martin Luther King weekends in a long time where I haven't had a big protest at my house.
Oh, wow.
And I think about how my mom raised me. I had just like the best mom in the world. And not only was she a great mother, she was my Girl Scout troop leader. And so kind of in our family, every day was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And people who work with me will tell you, like, I cannot walk by a piece of trash without picking it up. Like, service is kind of an act of connection to our community, our humanity. And in this time of polarization, I think we need it more than ever. And public service is a unique role. It's one that I have spent a lifetime learning about, being educated on. And I would love to continue to being of service, not just to my beloved people of Oakland, my hometown, the town, but to take what I've learned and to take that love for all of humanity and spread it to the whole state of California.
I love that. I love the fact that you're obviously an Oakland Bay Area girl, and you don't shy away from it, which, sometimes, and I know you probably feel the same thing. I'm sure Kim does as well. When people start to criticize the Bay Area or California in general, it's like this nagging thing. Like, you don't know how good it is. We're huge. We have a huge economy, as you just mentioned. And with that comes a lot of different types of problems. I wish you the best of luck, Libby. Where should people, what's your website? Let people know where to find you and connect with you.
Sure. It's libbyschaaf.com, and that's LIBBYSCH 2 A's, 1 F.com. Don't worry, my best friends still do it wrong too. And I'm just really excited. And let me be clear, we have to save democracy this year. I am not up. This election is not till 2026. I'm starting early. But yes, libbyschaaf.com, SCH 2 A's, 1 F.com.
And so far, are you the only person that has signed up to run, or do you already have some competition going?
Well, a number of people have opened committees that allow them to fundraise, but nobody has formally come out and said, I'm running for treasurer. I am the first official candidate.
Well, good luck. I always love having you on. I want you to come back on as the campaign gets heated up. And if you have anything else going on, please know the door is always open on the Nikki Medoro Show, because we always appreciate it.
Well, I love you, Nikki. We had a lot of important conversations during the pandemic. I'm looking forward to more to come.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And thanks for being on the show.
Bye.
That's Libby Schaaf, of course. She is running for California's state treasurer. 2 A's, 1 F. I don't know how I misspelled that. You know why? It's because we're on radio. Nobody sees our script. I was probably misspelling it the whole entire time. She's someone that I've always felt is unabashedly honest as much as possible. Although, again, I know that not everybody agreed with her. And she doesn't shy away from that either. So I'm excited that she's going to stay in public service. Oh,
I'm seeing this post from Calvin, who puts down $20 and then says, Mayor Libby, please twist some arms to reform the CPUC and stop PG&E price gouging us. We'll have to ask her about that next time. Average people and small businesses can't afford it. I don't know if that's part of the treasurer's position.
Yeah, I don't think so, but
but
influence perhaps.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then Flo says, great to have Libby Schaaf back on the Nikki Medoro show. I've always loved Mayor Schaaf's dedication to service and optimistic worldview in even the most challenging times. Libby for president. And the reason why I was asking her why she wants to stay in politics, Kim, is again, it's one of those, you could not pay me enough to deal. Not that I don't, I just would want to serve on more the individual, local, very close way versus the national stage, which brings national attention and national criticism.
Well,
I don't know.
look what's happening even to judges that are, involved in these
Exactly.
political cases. Their
Such
homes are getting
respect.
swatted. They've got bomb threats being called into courthouses. So you put yourself out in the public in a political way like that, and sometimes you make yourself the target for things that you don't necessarily want.
I mean, again, today is the Iowa caucus. The presidential election is in full swing, and criticisms are going to come from every which direction. And so I do, even if I don't agree with the candidate, even if I don't like the candidate, putting yourself out there and dealing with that day in and day out takes a special kind of person. And so I applaud Libby Schaaf for not only wanting to stay in public service, wanting to stay in politics, but doing this so early. Because the earlier you throw your hat in the race, the earlier people find things about you or to criticize you or whatever. So yeah, good for Libby Schaaf. Again, LibbySchaaf.com's 2 A's, 1F.com. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting campaign. Now, I have a couple more things to talk about with the Iowa caucus, and then we'll switch gears. Did you see the statistic? Voters who support Nikki Haley as the GOP nominee in 2024 are twice as likely to support Joe Biden as they are to Donald Trump, should the contest come down to Trump and Biden. So, you know what I mean? We really do want Nikki Haley to do well, but I don't want Nikki Haley to be my president. Does that make sense? Like,
No, I completely understand. Yeah.
I really, but also, I think there was a comment earlier in when we were chatting about this that someone said Nikki Haley would pardon Trump. Maybe she's just saying that. I mean, politics is politics. Campaigning is campaigning. If you want the Trumpers, right? Sure. Just like Trump was going to lock Hillary up, Nikki Haley's going to pardon Trump, right? Like, she doesn't have to. Why would she pardon Trump? And again, I don't feel like Nikki Haley is a huge Trump supporter. I think she just wants the job, right? And she will say what she needs to say to get the job. Do I think that once she is president of, if she gets into the White House, do I think that one of the first orders that she's going to busy herself with, the first female president of the United States, is to pardon that asshat? I highly doubt it. She doesn't have to. That's the thing here. And people forget, if she does this and she's going to kowtow to Trump. Why? Why would she have to? Just like Trump didn't need to throw Hillary in jail, he doesn't have to. He just said that to get your freaking vote. Do you see her in jail? Do you see her locked up? It was a BS to get your vote, Trumpers, and you fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And so Nikki Haley's saying, oh, yes, I'll pardon. No, she's not. No, she's not. Because she doesn't need that grief. I'm sure she has a platform and things she wants to do. You think she wants that nonsense? I think if anybody is smart and has anything between their ears, they would distance themselves from Trump the minute they get the position that they want. They are just using him and the MAGAs because they can. Cindy thinks I'm being naive on this one. I do not think so. I do not think so at all. She thinks that Nikki will pardon Trump. Why would she?
She said she would.
But that's my point. People say whatever they want on the campaign trail to get the votes that they want.
Yeah, but that's a pretty big base of support to piss off. I don't know if she would do that.
I'm talking about if she wins the presidency.
I think
Why
she'll
would she
pardon.
have to?
Because she says she would, and I think she would hold her word on that.
Trump said that he'd lock Hillary up. First order of business, locking Hillary up.
I don't think she probably won't pardon all the January 6thers like Trump says he will. But I think she'll pardon him. I think she'll go into it thinking he's a Republican. A lot of people in the base are still passionate about him. America needs to put this behind us, so I'm going to pardon him, and we'll just be done with this whole matter.
So you think that pardoning him would put it behind us?
I don't think that. I think that would be her reasoning. Of course, I would like to see him in an orange jumpsuit pay for his crimes and for almost trampling on for trampling on the Constitution and putting democracy at risk. Absolutely. He should be in jail forever. He should have his citizenship stripped and be kicked out of the country. Yes, all of that.
I just think Okay. She has to make it to the White House, which we don't want to happen anyway. Okay. So we'll put $5 on it, Kim, you and me. All right.
Yeah.
$5. She doesn't pardon Trump. $5.
I think she will.
I think she's
Pardon him.
full of
Yeah.
crap. I think she's
She'll pardon
totally
him.
full of crap. I don't think he doesn't need to be pardoned. His ass is going to be in prison anyway because of all the other crap that he's done. So how about that? Like, that's what I want to happen. Trump is in prison on his own accord and she can't pardon him for that. Okay. She can't pardon him for everything. She can't. So he could still be in prison. People say things during political campaigns that don't happen. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. Never happened. Okay. Like, it's not unheard of for people to make straight up promises to people that never happen.
Yeah.
It's
Mark
not
my words,
unheard of.
no new taxes, right? No.
You know what I mean?
But
Like,
in
come
this
on.
case, I don't think it hurts her. I think it helps her with her base, or what would be her base that would all shift to support her.
Right.
And so she will.
Who's gonna say it?
She will pardon him. Yeah.
She doesn't need to when she's president. She doesn't need to once she gets what she wants. That's my point. That's why I'm saying no, she doesn't have to. Once she's in the White House, she doesn't have to.
She doesn't care about people like us. She doesn't care about logical, rational people. She cares about the wackadoodles that support Trump. Sorry if you're one of them. Right?
I'm not sorry. Go and call your dad. You're in a cult. Jesus.
So she's going to want to bring them along to her side. She knows I'm never going to be there.
I'm not paying everybody $5. I'm only paying Kim $5, Doug. I'm just letting you know. This is not a promise to all y'all. I don't think so. I really feel like Kim's going to pay me $5. I really do. I think that you guys are overestimating how much full of crap Nikki Haley is. I really do. I think that she's going to be like, I tried, or okay, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I am being naive. I just don't think. I think she's going to say whatever she has to say to MAGA to get their vote if Trump is not the nominee, or even if he is close, like to move them over without the baggage. And then once she's in the White House, she's in the White House, people. That's it. Like, but maybe, I don't know. I just don't. You know what?
She'll want to run again. And she's the kind of person that always tries to that curries political favor. Like, she's one of these fair weather. One day she says this thing, the next day she says that, just to get people on her side.
And I mean, how much influence is Trump really going to have? I mean, the guy, even though he likes to call out Biden's age, Trump's getting old too. Like, I mean, do you think that Trump's going to survive if, God forbid, Nikki Haley is in the White House?
Look how many people are supportive of him still after everything. And even now, how far ahead he is in polls. And I know she's nipping at his heels, but still, I tend to think she would want those people to scoop him up and bring him to her side. Yeah.
Lori says, I think she'll pardon federal crimes if he's convicted of both state and fed. So he stays unpardoned for state crimes. So she has her cake and eats it too. Okay.
Yeah.
That I could see happening.
Well, she can't pardon him for state crimes. She can't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You can't use what Lori just said and not give me my $5. No way, man.
No. I still don't think she's going to do that. No, the Doug's giving me the $5 to pay you. Listen to me. The bet still stands. I don't think she's going to pardon him at all. Lori's could happen. I would see something like that happen, but because that's what would happen. She can never pardon him for state crimes.
Sure.
I'm saying, and you know what else? If she freaking does it, she loses her woman card. Are you telling me, as the first woman president of the United States, the first thing you're going to do is defend this asshat man? Are you kidding me right now? For crimes he committed.
Yeah.
He committed.
Sit back and watch. Absolutely.
I
That's
would be
what she
so
is.
you'd hand over your woman card.
She can't even say the Civil War was started because of slavery. Are you kidding me?
I know. But again,
she's not one of us.
Bet stands. The bet
she's
stands.
not on the side of the good side. Let me just say that.
I'm telling you. Exactly, OCB. It's a moot point. She won't win. I hope not. But again, I don't want Trump to be I don't even want Trump to be the nominee. I don't want another Biden versus Trump. I don't. So I'm kind of going with the maybe she'll win the nomination thinking, but we'll see. Marco Rubio is another one that's a total, these Republicans, no matter what their fellow Republicans or former presidents say about them, they just eat that S up and then ask for more. Marco Rubio endorsed Donald Trump in the primary over his own state's governor and former ambassador Nikki Haley. He ran against Trump in 2016, as we know. What was Rubio's nickname from Trump? What was it? Remember, he had a nickname for everyone. What was Marco Rubio's? Anybody remember?
Look it up.
I feel like there was one for him. So Marco Rubio posts on Twitter, When Trump was in the White House, I achieved major policies I had worked on for years because we had a president who didn't cave to special interests or let bureaucrats block us. You are an idiot. And he basically said, I support Trump because that kind of leadership is the only way we will get the extraordinary actions needed to fix the disaster Biden has created. It's time to get on with the work of beating Trump and saving America. He talked so much crap about Trump.
Little Marco. Called him Little Marco.
Little Marco. There we go. I knew it was something.
Wikipedia has a whole page of all the nicknames he gave everybody. You know what his nickname for Haley is? Nikki Haley is? Bird Brain.
Bird brain, yeah. This is somebody that people want as president. There's an entire Wikipedia of his immaturity. This is who you want as president. I mean, it's funny to laugh at if it wasn't so freaking frightening. So, of course, Marco Rubio puts that on Twitter. So everyone brings the receipts. Here's one video of Marco Rubio, again, talking about Trump.
You compared Donald Trump to a third world dictator yesterday in an interview with the New York Times. How so?
Well, I don't know about a dictator. I said a third world strongman. He's running for president, so no matter what, he won't be a dictator unless our republic completely crumbles, which I don't anticipate it will. But yeah, here's what happens in many countries around the world. You have a leader that emerges and basically says, don't put your faith in yourselves, don't put your faith in society, put your faith in me. I'm a strong leader, and I'm going to make things better all by myself. This is very typical. You see it in the third world. You see it a lot in Latin America for decades. It's basically the argument he's making that he single-handedly is going to turn the country around. We've never been that kind of country. We have a president. The president is an American citizen who serves for a period of time, constrained by the constitutions and the powers vested in that office. The president works for the people, not the people for the president. And if you listen to the way he describes himself and what he's going to do, he's going to single-handedly do this and do that without regard for whether it's legal or not. Look, I think people are going to have to make up their mind. I can tell you this, no matter what happens in this election, for years to come, there are many people on the right, in the media, and voters at large that are going to be having to explain and justify how they fell into this trap of supporting Donald Trump, because this is not going to end well one way or the other.
Yep, and it didn't end well at all. Little Rubio. Little Marco. I love all the shifty shift. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Lion Ted. He's such a child. Trump is such a child, and I don't understand the appeal. Except, people fall in line behind the bully because they're scared. A bunch of weaklings, although they act like they're so Trump. Now, one more final thing that now I wanted your guys' take on whether or not you think that Ron DeSantis has a point here, because part of me wishes that this was true, but I don't know if it's actually true. And that is what people say versus what they actually do. Here he is.
As one of the 5 House members who have supported you, endorsed your campaign, had this to say about why so many others have lined up behind Donald Trump. This is Thomas Massey, Congressman Thomas Massey. He said, I would say a good number of people who have endorsed Trump in Congress have done it because they genuinely want him to be president and prefer him. But a majority of them are scared of their own constituents, not necessarily scared of Trump, but that he would rile up their constituents and that they might lose a primary. Is that what's going on? Because we are now seeing this stampede of elected Republican officials endorsing Donald Trump.
Well, you'll have to ask them. I mean, I can tell you this. I mean, I do know elected officials who encourage me to run and say they're going to vote for me in a primary, but yet have endorsed Donald Trump. That's just the reality of the situation. But here's the thing, what I would tell elected Republicans, when you stand up and you're delivering on conservative issues, Donald Trump's not going to be able to say you're bad if you've delivered on those issues. The voters are going to look at what you've done. I think Trump can be effective in a primary for people who are not delivering on conservative issues and who are going more wobbly or more left on things. But then that's always been the case, that people can be exposed in these primaries. So we're doing it. I've got guys like Chip Roy. I've got guys like Tom. I mean, these guys are out there. They're fighting the good fight. They've got a lot of incoming. But what we can't have as a party is that our movement is detached from the underlying principles and issues that we're trying to advocate on behalf of the American people. And I think Trump is trying to make it to where someone that kisses the ring, even if they're not faithful to the core conservative values, somehow they're a member in good standing just by doing that. Whereas a Chip Roy, who's fighting on all these conservative issues that all the Republican base has always wanted to do, but the fact that he's endorsed me and hasn't kissed a ring and somehow he's bad or he's somehow a rhino, that is what you don't want. You want it to be rooted in a larger principle and not an individual. And also, you got to hold people accountable. I mean,
all right, we're done with him. But yeah, I mean, he has a point about, people, as long as you stay true to Trump, you'll be in his good standing. Unless, of course, Kim, your name is Vivek Ramaswamy. Apparently, I don't know what it is. Trump doesn't like him. He told people that if they voted for Vivek Ramaswamy, that it's a wasted vote. He says a vote for Vivek is a wasted vote, adding that he likes the fellow GOP hopeful, but that Ramaswamy, quote, played it too cute with us. The caucus is tonight. Vote for Donald J. Trump. Build up the numbers. In November, we must take our very troubled nation, a nation in decline, back from crooked Joe Biden, blah, 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 blah. Now, Vivek, I don't know why he keeps kissing Donald Trump's ass, but he does. I feel like he thinks he's going to get the VP nomination if he does that. Yeah. He calls himself Trump without the baggage. That's basically kind of how he sells himself. Trump ain't falling for it. But again, Trump can talk crap about you till the cows come home. And then if he's choosing his VP, it could still be him, I guess. But yeah, Ramaswamy is not getting all the love from his dear leader, unfortunately. So sorry. I love that. John says Ramaswamy is like Mr. Smithers to Mr. Burns. Good Simpsons reference. And you're absolutely correct. Absolutely. I mean, because Vivek, go away. Like, you have no chance in hell of getting the presidency. And it's so... I watched Mean Girls, the musical, over the weekend, and I remember the movie. Well, my point is that, those people that just fall in line like, oh, I love you, and they don't really like the person. That's what I think it is. As far as the musical, I don't think I really leaned into the fact that it was a musical. It kind of went over my head a little bit that it was a musical until I started checking it out, and then I was like, oh, wow. They're going to sing a lot in this. And you know how I feel. Like, I don't do ballets because there's no words. Musicals are next. I think after watching it, it very much lines up with the original Mean Girls. It's more of someone I read one review and it said it seems more like a tribute to the movie than something that stands on its own. And I would say that's absolutely true. It's literally Mean Girls, the movie. Musical form. Okay. Yeah. Like everything is the same. The whole storyline, there's nothing really that surprising about it. But I will tell you, the songs, even though they're hella cheesy, I feel like this is going to be like a cult classic. Like, if you love Mean Girls, and then you kind of go watch that.
The musical's been around for a while. They've done it at high schools. They've done it.
But not like in the movies is what I mean. Like, I think the movie is going to be like a kind of a cult classic.
Yeah.
Similar, not the same, because they didn't just make a straight version of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. But like, I can understand how some of these songs can get catchy. And so in that instance, I think that it could be fun to watch and then rewatch and rewatch. I thought it was pretty good. One of my daughter's really good friends is doing the high school version of Mean Girls. So yeah, I think it's cute. Was it? And it was fun to watch. And a lot of the old characters came back. Obviously, Tina Fey was in it. The teacher that was in it before it was in it. But yeah, it was literally just like Mean Girls, but put to music. So I thought it was pretty good. Are you going to see it? Did you see it?
No, but Julia's already got tickets.
Yeah. So we went to the drive-ins actually to see it. So it was definitely a good movie. So I recommend it. All right, let's do some headlines. When we come back, we're going to talk about Bill O'Reilly. Why does Nikki want to talk about Bill O'Reilly? Bill O'Reilly had something happen to him, which ironic. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of ironic. And again, I think it will really put a fine point on why certain things are stupid to do. Again, it is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And on this MLK Day, there is a headline that really goes against one of his famous quotes. So I'll talk about that and so much more. Again, you guys, click the thumbs up button. Show your support for the show while you're here. We really do appreciate it. We'll talk about all that and so much more right after Kim News.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
And yep, we're back to Iowa because that is the news of the morning. Iowa's caucuses are, can you hear me?
I can
Yep.
hear you.
Okay, good. I thought maybe I was muted for a second. All right. Iowa's caucuses are getting underway today, making the first official day of voting in the 2024 election cycle. At stake, who Iowa Republicans think will be the best candidate to take on President Biden come November. Polls far and away show former President Trump has the most support as of now. Well, again, Nikki is telling me that whoever usually wins the Iowa caucuses doesn't get the
Right.
nomination. So,
Right. So I'm kind of,
okay.
but again, it doesn't really matter either way. Iowa is no longer this kind of, it's just bragging rights, right? It's
Mhm.
not a primary, it's a caucus. They have their different types of rules. It's really, really early, but it gives people, oh, look, I won the Iowa caucus. But we've seen things play out before where somebody will win early on in one of the caucuses or the primary, and then they fade away. So let's not put too much stock, but recent statistics show that Republicans who win the Iowa caucus never make it to the White House.
Well, from your, what do they say? From your lips to
Lips
God's
to God's
ears?
ears. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what we hope for. In the Bay Area, Pacifica region, there was a father and a son pulled from the ocean. That's a picture of Pacifica. They are recovering after being rescued from the ocean. Rescue crews were called to the area north of Maury Point on Sunday afternoon after the two victims were seen struggling in the water. Rescue swimmers were able to pull the pair from the water to get them to emergency crews. Both were taken to a hospital in unknown condition, and no other injuries were reported there. This is different than the situation with the plane that crashed near off the coast of Half Moon Bay. This again was up near Pacifica. An investigation is underway into a freeway shooting that left two juveniles with injuries. This one happened in the San Lorenzo area in the East Bay. The CHP says the two were in the back seat of a car headed north on 880 late Sunday night when gunshots went through this vehicle. The two victims were treated for non-life-threatening injuries, no arrests made, and a motive for that shooting so far remains unclear. Wall Street is closed today in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. When the holiday shortened trading week does kick off on Tuesday, it will come on the heels of Friday's very mixed close. Investors weighing the first batch of fourth quarter earnings as the closing bell saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average down while the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ were both up. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. The principal of the Iowa high school where one student was killed and 6 others injured in a shooting earlier this month has died. According to the post on a GoFundMe page to help with medical expenses, Perry High School principal Dan Marburger died Sunday morning around 8 a.m. Central Time. He'd been the principal at the Des Moines area school for nearly 3 decades. They're saying that he gave his life to protect the students there, and again, died yesterday morning. So sad turn of events with that. You could say hell is freezing over in Michigan. The Detroit Lions beat the LA Rams this past weekend.
Crazy.
The newspaper posted a screenshot of the temperature in the town of Hell, Michigan, with the words confirmed hell froze over. It was minus 3 degrees at the end of the game. It was the first time in 32 years that the Lions had a playoff win.
Yeah, and it was cold there. Kansas City was extremely cold. They beat the crap out of the Dolphins.
That was the 4th coldest NFL game in history. Yeah.
They have the Kansas City Chiefs have, like, I don't know if you go to rich people's homes. I've never experienced it, but the heated bathroom tiles, so your feet are never cold. They have that for the entire football field. So when they showed up, I mean, it was ice. Again, if you live in these conditions, why not have a dome? Whatever. But yeah, so they had ice, but then they started it, and all of the, you could, again, another job. These people are so bundled up. They look like snowmen out there. But yeah, they said, like, all of a sudden the grass was warming up and they were able to get some traction and things like that. It was something to talk about. It was an angle, but please, we've had very, very cold football games before, the frozen tundra and stuff like that. But it's easy to just kind of point at the thermostat and being like, gosh, darn, it's cold. And you're going to pay good money to sit your butt. And oh my God, no. It's supposed, so my husband has these delusions of grandeur that we're going to go to Saturday's football game. Tickets are already starting at $350 a piece. We're not going,
no.
but it's going to rain. I'm such a wuss. It's going to rain, Kim, in the morning. And so it might be a little damp. So I'm like, and then the high is like in the 50s. And I was like, that's way too cold. Oh yeah. Oh no, Harry. I am the biggest wimp. I'm like, it's going to be in the 50s and drizzly? No. And then you see these people with like snow coming off of their face and their things, and they're like totally toughing it out. My couch is warm and the drinks are free. So
You're such a bunch of Californians. That's how it is.
I'm not even apologetic. I don't give a crap. I am not going to pay hundreds of dollars to be miserable to watch my team play with the possibility that they don't, but that they might lose, and then I'm depressed and I paid money and I'm freezing. No. Free drinks, warm couch. I'm good. No.
Well, you speak about the homes of those that are very wealthy.
Yes.
And a new report says the world's 5 richest men, it's men, not women,
Of course.
have more than doubled their wealth since 2020.
Yeah, I saw that. That's
3 years. They doubled their wealth.
And how much was
What?
their wealth, Kim McAllister?
According to the nonprofit Oxfam, the combined wealth of the elite group that includes Tesla CEO Elon Musk, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, and investor Warren Buffett jumped from $405 billion to nearly $870 billion in the past 3 years. In issuing the report, the charity called on governments to rein in corporate power to reduce the gap between the ultra-rich and the rest of society.
You know, and I'm just going to bring it up now since you said that story, because that's what kind of stuck out to me. Martin Luther King Jr. quote, "As long as there is poverty in this world, no man can be totally rich, even if he has $1 billion." This is the point, is there's so few people, men, that have so much wealth, and there's so many people. And I'm not even just talking in this whole world, which is so much bigger, in this country, that are so poor. And that's gross. That is just gross. And the fact that within the next, 10 years, there could be the first trillionaire, just shows you that there is this huge disconnect legislatively and societally, that's a word, on how we think wealth should be divided in this country. I mean, I don't understand why it is insane to want to tax the wealthy more when we can have our first trillionaire. If I was a trillionaire, again, I'm sure it's nice. I guess I would have no idea, but that's gross. That's too much money. That's too much money for one person, even one family to have. There's a reason why it's called share the wealth. Share the freaking wealth. But okay, I won't know.
I will show you this picture for our last story, and this is a story about a butter sculpture. Speaking of things in excess.
I like butter.
I mean, it's pretty nice. They didn't, looks like a woman and sitting at a table. Yeah. This big, giant butter sculpture that has been displayed at the Pennsylvania Farm Show for the last week and a half is now being recycled at a dairy farm. 1,000 pounds of butter is going to Brett Reinford's farm in Miffintown to be made into renewable energy. He uses a methane digester to create energy and cut down on greenhouse gas emissions for his 750 dairy cows. He says the butter from the sculpture will be mixed with other food waste and cow manure and will be enough to produce power for 500 homes in the county they live in that community. So there you go.
Yeah. What is the best way of moving a butter sculpture? I mean, it has to be greasy.
Slippery little sucker. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure they just destroy the damn sculpture and then just pack it in a truck somewhere, but interesting. There's different hobbies. I guess that's a hobby.
You know what? Everybody has their thing.
Exactly.
Lastly, because we didn't celebrate Friday food because you were missing in action.
That's true. Yes.
I will just tell you that today is National Bagel Day.
As if I needed an excuse.
So if you didn't have your bagel this morning,
I did not.
Then I'm here to tell you that you should, because it is a day for all bagel lovers to rejoice and eat up. And here is a picture of bagels just for you. We'll let go of the butter and we'll
butter's
slap
good
down
on a bagel
bagels.
though.
There you go.
What is your favorite? What is your go-to bagel?
I like the egg bagel.
An egg bagel?
Yeah, the egg bagel.
So it's like made into the bagel. It's not topped with egg.
It's instead of just being like a plain bagel with white, bread. It's kind of got a yellowish tinge to it a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I do enjoy the chocolate chip bagel.
Ooh, no,
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever had a chocolate chip bagel, in all
What bagel do
honesty.
you like? The spicy girl bagel?
So my first choice is always an onion bagel, okay?
Okay.
Which always reminds me of The Devil Wears Prada, because there's a scene in The Devil's where they're like, "Who had an onion bagel?" I love me an onion bagel, and then it's an
Mhm.
everything bagel. Usually when I go, like, so if I go to Noah's Bagels, which is like the closest, there's like House of Bagels near me, but I like Noah's Bagels. So if I go
Right.
to Noah's Bagels, usually the onion bagels are gone by the time I get there, which sucks.
Oh.
But if I have an onion bagel, that's my first choice. Then an everything bagel, although I always have to bring floss because the everything bagel. Then a sesame seed and or a jalapeno. So that's the
See, I knew
spicy.
it was a spicy
A
girl bagel that
jalapeno
you would
one.
like.
But what my
Yeah.
favorite is, if I go to Noah's bagel, I get the lox bagel. Oh, with salmon and cream cheese and capers and cucumbers and tomato. They make the best Nova lox sandwich. Do you like lox? Cream cheese and lox? No.
I don't not like it or dislike it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bomb. At Noah's Bagel, they make a really good sandwich. So it also comes with sliced raw onion, which I don't do raw onion. And so I get it on an onion bagel, which I always find funny when I order it. I'm like, can I have the Novalox sandwich, no onion on an onion bagel, please? Because that's where I get a garlic bagel or an onion bagel for Lori. Yeah, it's really good. Bagel day. See, a bagel though is so much bread. And not that, if you eat all the carbs you can, fine. But a
Yeah.
bagel in and of itself is so much sliced bread. It equates to. So, I can't have a bagel every day. This booty of mine does not need a bagel every day. That's for
Doesn't
sure.
need a bagel?
No,
No?
it does not.
All right, here's what an egg bagel looks like,
Let me
in
see.
case you haven't
Okay.
seen it. I'm surprised you haven't seen one
I've
before.
never eaten an egg bagel before.
Really? That's
I've
'cause
had
you're looking for
egg
something
on
else.
my bagel, like a breakfast bagel or something, but I've never had an egg bagel.
It's the one on top.
Okay.
See how it looks a little more yellow than the others?
So do they just add more egg to it, or
I guess so. I guess the way it's more yellow. I don't know.
Interesting. All right. No, Flo says Noah's is good, but next time you're in New York City, you have to go to any bagel cafe for an awesome one. Yeah, a lot of people say in New York it's the water that makes the difference in a bagel. I like a chewy bagel. You know what I mean? Like if you're just gonna eat it, it should have like that chew to it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love carbs? I love my carbs. My butt needs me to, rein in. I'm not anti-carbs. Believe me. You need carbs. You need energy. But this butt of mine ain't gonna shrink itself. That's for sure. Cinnamon raisin. I like cinnamon raisin toast, but I don't think I would get it in a bagel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not know this, Lori. House of Bagels are real Brooklyn bagels. Noah's Bagels are California bagels. Maybe I should go back. I used to go to House of Bagels all the time in high school. The same one.
What's the difference? What's a California bagel?
I think it's the water and how they make it.
Oh.
I don't know. I mean, does House of Bagels ship in Brooklyn water? I thought it was all about the water. Chris is like, I hate food. Well, you need it, Chris. I'm sensing that you're in a great mood today. Flo says pumpernickel, and wheat bagels are my favorites. And yes, the water makes a difference. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, happy bagel day to all those that observe it. And if you needed a reason to get a delicious bagel, there's your reason.
Absolutely. This report is crowd sponsored, which means that we are funded by you.
We need to buy bagels, people. Help us out.
We need our bagel fund. Find us at theNikkiMedoroShow.com, theNikkiMedoroShow.com, and you'll find the Patreon and the PayPal link there. Of course, super chat, super stickers are open. And thank you for all the ways you support the show. I'm Kim McAllister on The Nikki Medoro Show.
Thank you, Kim. All right. So, Kim, you're the one that sent me this story, which I was cracking up at. Bill O'Reilly, who supports Florida book ban laws, is outraged after his own books come under review.
Hey, you know what? You can't dish it out if you can't take it.
Right? He said on X, Twitter, that a Florida county has removed his books, Killing Jesus and Killing Reagan, from its schools. He says, preposterous. It's a hard one for me to say. We are investigating and are seeking comment from Governor Ron DeSantis. This will not stand. O'Reilly's books were listed in a list of 1,000 books that were temporarily reviewed. I read one article, and I don't know if it's the same county. They're pulling the friggin' dictionary, people. Like, it's gone too far. I don't understand. I don't understand book banning. I don't understand. Oh my God. as people say that there's pornography in libraries, they see their 8-year-old on a cell phone, right? There's pornography on that too. Are you yanking your phone away from your child? I highly doubt it. Now, I have zero problem. Again, like we were talking about with transgender sports and all sorts, there is a compromise here. I totally understand if there are parents, whether it's for religion or some other reason, why they don't want their child to have access to certain books. That's fine. Fine. Opt your damn kid out of it. If you want, it is not difficult to set up a system at school libraries. We're not talking about public libraries because, damn it, take your kid to the library and figure it out yourself. But at school libraries, if you want to put your kid on a list where they need your permission to check out any book, that seems like an easy fix, right? It really, really does. But for you to say, I don't want my kid exposed to this book, so no kid can be exposed to this book, is ridiculous. It is so stupid and asinine. And I'm so glad that Bill O'Reilly now maybe has a taste of why people think this is a stupid and dangerous thing that's happening in places like Florida. See, people probably didn't even read your book, O'Reilly. They probably don't even they're probably judging it by its cover, right? They see killing, they see Jesus. They're like, nah. So, and the whole killing blank, it's his thing. He has a lot of books like that. So it's not as if this isn't a new thing. And it's not as if these are new books, right? Yeah. But all of a sudden, somebody got their panties in a knot. And now Bill O'Reilly finds himself on this book banning list.
One of the things that we don't, as parents, really restrict that much is our books. So if we go into a bookstore,
right,
we're going to buy some books. We know we're going to spend a little bit of money on books. Mm-hmm. And so we find it hard to say no to books.
I don't say no to any book.
So my husband takes over winter break, my kids to the bookstore when I'm working here.
Right.
And my daughter comes home with a stack of books. And I said, oh, what do you have there? Right. Show me what you have. And she kind of looked at me and she went, they're all from the banned book section. What do you mean they're up from the banned book section? She said, well, they had a banner and it said, these are the banned books. And I went,
love
right
California.
There.
We're like, we lean into it. We're like, screw it. There, right there. Go get the banned books.
Okay. So I looked at them and there was a little bit of sex and there's some drugs in there, but she's 14 and I think she can handle it. And I was like, all right, gotta do what you gotta do.
The library does the same thing. I need to get a bookshelf, Kim. All of my books, like I was horrified the other day because I went into my daughter's room and I always get a hair up my ass where I'm like fed up with
unpleasant.
where I'm fed up with my kids being on the phone. So I either drag them to the library or I take their electronic. I'm like, read a book. And I looked at my daughter and I'm like, read a book. She's like, all my books are still packed away. And I'm like, which wasn't totally true. She didn't want to read the ones that were out, but most of them are still packed away. And so on Saturday, I woke the kids up and and I look at them like, we're going to the library and you guys are getting a book and a book because my son loves these manga books. I don't know if you know what that is. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like this kind of graphic books, those graphic design, not graphic design, but graphic books, novels or whatever. And he likes them. And I don't like you. I don't say no book. I say, okay, you can get a bunch of those. He got like 5 of them. But they're easy reads. They're quick reads.
I know.
And then I'm like,
but
you have to
get
one.
And it's not a screen.
Right.
I still say if you get a graphic novel, at least get one chapter book without pictures that you can read as well. Right.
That's exactly what I told him. So I said, you have to get and I always call it a book, which I shouldn't because those are books. But I think no, you have to get a book with no pictures that have lots more words because it's hard. My husband really wants my son to read Huckleberry Finn. Like James loves that book. He really wants Dylan to read it. And Dylan, it's so funny. We literally had this argument over this weekend because we're like, read this book. He's like, I want to read the other book that I got from the library. So I couldn't argue with it. The book that he got. And so James is like, I will pay you $50 if you read that book and give me and write a book report. And write a book report. Like you have to prove that you wrote it, right? So you have to give me what was the book about? Book, right? Book report.
Yeah.
And Dylan's fighting it tooth and nail. He's like, I don't want to listen. I don't want to read an old-timey book with old-timey language in it. And he's all, and it has the N-word in it a lot. And I was like, so what? I was like, there's a reason why.
Sorry.
And so I'm like, read me a sentence.
Yeah.
And what was the word? Oh, it was something like the first line of the chapter that he was reading said something to the effect of, he was being scolded. Like he had to read the context. And this is why you want your children to read books. He took like 3 words. God, I wish I had the book. Basically, it was like I was gonna get a good getting from somebody, right? He's like, I don't even know what that means. And I was like, read the rest of the sentence. And you read the rest of the sentence. He's like, I'm being scolded for this, that, and the other. I'm like, so what can you infer by reading the entire sentence about what that phrase means? And that's why reading is important. We're not, spoon feeding you everything. You have to read the whole thing. What is the context? So again, I love my children, but they really don't. I tell them all the time, you don't really have a choice. I'm offering you the choice. Dad is offering you money. You can take it or you can get nothing and still sit your ass down and read the freaking book. I don't want it to be that way. I want you to enjoy reading, but I truly believe that if you honestly started Huckleberry Finn, he would enjoy it.
You get into the story and like it.
Yeah.
Here's the book that I was trying to get my kid to read.
Okay.
So my sister and brother-in-law passed on all these Hardy Boys books. And I thought, well, if you read one of them, then you're going to get into the series and then you're going to want to read all of them. Well, this is the old one. And then the rest of them are kind of newer.
Right.
And so he wouldn't read it because he said the same thing. Look how old that book is. It's kind of, the pages are yellowed and worn. And he's like, that's an old book. And I'm not really interested in that. And I don't like mysteries like that. I said, well, let's read it together. Well, I'll read it to you. And he was okay with it. And he really enjoyed the story. I will say this book also had an unnecessary N-word in it that was absolutely not
a part of
necessary to the story at all.
Right.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, yep, that's an old book. People were weird then. Mm-hmm.
Did you say N-word or did you say it?
Because of doing news, I'm always reading ahead, right? So I'm always a sentence ahead of where my eyes are. And I saw it coming and I changed the word.
You did? Interesting. Look at censorship Kim over here. Okay.
I wouldn't have changed the word if it had been a word if it had been a book where I thought it was historically accurate or necessary to the story or the time. But this was just a author who clearly didn't. This was a book written in a different time where the word wasn't necessary to the story.
Yeah.
And so I changed it. But afterward, I did tell him that I changed it when I was telling my husband that
interesting.
About this book.
You did.
I did. And because I thought it's time that he knows what the word is and what it means if he hears it, because I don't want him to use it and be uneducated about not what it means. Right. So then we have the talk about here's this horrible word. Here's what it means. It's used to be awful to people. I changed the word so you wouldn't hear it, but I want you to know what it means and why I changed it. So we had that talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Doug says Huckleberry Finn's a great book. The part of going on the river on a big raft is the best.
Yeah,
yes.
I like that too.
And Chris, this is what I agree. He's like a few pages a day, maybe a chapter, whatever a day. Exactly. And my children read, and of course they read the books that they have to read for school, but I want them to, like, for me, like, I love reading. So I look forward to, sometimes I go in early to pick up my daughter from school just because I know I'm going to have 30 minutes where I can read my book. Like, I purposely set time out to read because I enjoy it so much. And that's what I'm trying to instill in my kids when you could. And that's what I was trying to tell Dylan. Like, you could spend hours staring at YouTube and it's not as engaging as a book would be. Mama 3 boys, I read every Judy Blume book I could get my hands on in elementary school and the entire Fear Street series in middle school. If my parents knew what I was reading, they would not have approved. Again, I don't, and maybe it's because my kids are older and I just really didn't encounter it when they were younger. I don't say no to books. If you want to read something, even if it's saucy, okay. I mean, it's a book. These are you can come up with your own images. I don't have a problem with it. I really, really don't. I know some parents are like, I don't want my kids exposed to all of that. They're exposed to everything in 2023. So, that's it.
One of the books that she got that was on the banned list, it shocked me that it was on the banned list.
What? I know. The Kate, really? Well,
it's on the banned list. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know why. I'm just saying Maya Angelou, I feel like some people just target certain authors. You know what I mean? Yeah. Phineas says you should get my reading theory professor on, Candy Dawson Boyd, as a guest. Send me the contact information. I love having guests. Letters from Earth by Mark Twain. It's funny as hell. Maybe I should get that next. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So reading, but I just love the fact that Bill O'Reilly is finding himself on the other side of this debate. Okay, so this also happened on Friday. And when I was at KCBS on Friday, we talked a lot about it. And I had talked about this guy before on this show, and that was the TikTok food star, Keith Lee.
Yeah.
So he was on this food tour. I was following him. I was, checking out his TikTok videos. And then, of course, the news that he cut the tour early. One, because he had an allergic reaction to shell. He has a shellfish allergy. My mom has one. You don't mess around with that. He ended up in the hospital. So that was one of the reasons. And so he put out a thing. He's like, I cut it off. He's like, the Bay Area is not ready for tourists. People are just surviving. The amount of tents and burned out cars people were living in was shocking to him. And then a lot
where
of
did he go?
Exactly.
Yikes.
A lot of people were saying, oh, you just went to Oakland or you just went to the Tenderloin or whatever. Apparently not. He's put out now. And if you go on TikTok, I know not a lot of you are on TikTok, but if you go on TikTok, that's where his whole entire videos are usually put.
Mm-hmm.
And he did say, he's like, I didn't just go to Oakland and San Francisco. I guess he went to like 6 or 7 cities in the Bay Area. He did not name them, and he did not name the restaurants, because if you don't know who Keith Lee is and his whole brand, he goes to mom and pop restaurants that are not doing well. Okay. It is not, oh, go to this place, it's doing excellent, and they just need you to put them on your tour list. That's not his brand. Now, he's just started this tour. They're not even sure if a TV channel is going to pick it up or whatever. But that's kind of his MO. And he had nothing constructive to say. He's like, I wasn't blown away by any of the places that I went. And if I have nothing constructive to say, then I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to cut it short because it costs me money and a lot of resources to do this. I have no problem with him saying that. I do think that there are so many mom and pop restaurants that he could have gone to. I mean, we're talking about the Bay. We're huge. I'm sorry. But again, he's like, if the media can stop saying that I didn't like the Bay Area, I had specific reasons on why. And he also said, I shouldn't need a tour guide to find these places. That's also not his brand. His brand is email me, reach out, DM me, do what you have to. And then I'm going to go as a tourist, not as a celebrity face, TikTok food star, right? I don't want to go like that. I want to go as if I'm Kim McAllister, Nikki Medoro. I'm just walking into a restaurant. What kind of service do I get? What kind of food do they have? I don't want anything special, because that defeats the whole point of why I started doing this to begin with. And I get it. But it's another kind of demerit for the Bay Area, I feel like, when you have someone that has such a huge platform, and then he gets all kinds of media attention, and then it doesn't work out, and it does suck. I really wish that it would have. But off the top of my head, Kim, if you had to reach out to Keith Lee or anybody and say you have to visit this local, not chain, restaurant, what would be a restaurant that you would name?
In my community?
Wherever. We're in the Bay.
Oh, in the Bay Area?
Yeah, in the Bay Area. It doesn't have to just be Petaluma, but if it was, that's fine.
If I would send someone to the House of Prime Rib easily.
But they don't need help. That's what I'm saying.
Don't.
They don't need, and I think that's what people were confused about. Like, the House of Prime Rib doesn't need help, right? Like a lot of these, I was going to say, and I was like the same you, I was going to say the chairman truck that does the bows or whatever, they don't need help. They don't need help. They're at Levi's Stadium, for God's sake.
Don't all these places need help coming off the pandemic?
Yes, but no, but that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about, oh my God, my parents own this one restaurant that serves the best, in our opinion, burritos.
Right.
But they have nobody in their restaurant and they're about to close. That's where Keith Lee wants to go. And he goes and sees, is it the food? Is it the service? Is it something else? That's his brand. And again, he did this during COVID. He did it like he ate in his car. He got DoorDash and things like that. And I feel like people didn't understand who Keith Lee was. They were just looking at, oh, he has all these followers. Let's get all this attention. Let's off the grid. SF was following him and going out there. And that's not what he wanted. And so he put out another video. I urge people to watch it simply because it's not what people are selling as, oh my God, the Bay Area is done. He was a bit shocked, but that wasn't 100% why he went. I think it was more the food allergy. I think that he just didn't trust it. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna, I need to keep going on my tour. I don't want to spend all this time in the hospital, which really, really sucks because nobody wants to have bad reviews, on your on the Bay Area or on your restaurant.
No,
And he
I would
wasn't blown
rather
away.
just rather have him not come than give a
Right.
bad review. We've got a million great restaurants. And
Yes.
yeah, I don't know what happened there with the food allergy. Usually if you tell people, then it's
Yeah,
not a
he doesn't think that
thing,
they
but
cleaned the grill. He asked,
oh,
they said that they would clean the grill and not cook it. And he doesn't think, because he said, I took one bite and I blew up. So, I mean, it's not like there was a hint. It was on there.
mm,
Doug says Original Joe's. Again, local, yes. I don't know how,
yeah,
I haven't been to Original Joe's in a little bit. I mean, within the last 5 years, I'd say I've been there. But does Original Joe's need help? Maybe. I don't know how well
right,
they're doing or not, but that's not what I would think of at first.
right.
That's Lori says, if the restaurant is not doing well, isn't it probable that it will be in an area that might be struggling as well? Possibly. Oh, the falafel drive-in's a good one. That's interesting. Original Joe's in downtown San Jose, Anonymous. I thought it was still there. I don't think it's gone. I don't know if you're talking about a different one. Is it? I didn't think that it was gone. Oh, Jesus. Is it gone? I should go downtown more often, I guess. But yeah, there's all kinds of places, Vietnamese shops. I'm seeing it in the comments. Yeah. It's just one of those things where unfortunately we didn't get the headlines that we wanted. Yeah, Jim says the falafel drive-in's always crowded. If it doesn't need help, it doesn't need help, and it doesn't need Keith Lee's attention. So that was the whole thing. It sucks to have a bad headline, but it sucks to have bad headlines about anything, so it is what it is. I hope he comes back. He said he's on the beginning of his food tour. He's only like 6 months into it. They're trying to create all this content to sell to a TV, like, HDTV or TLC or the Food Network or something like that. And so, we'll see what happens. I don't think that the Bay Area will be part of it. It would suck if they did make the show and we were the first one and it was not good. But yeah. Oh, Sam says most of the restaurants get lots of help from the government, grants and loans, and most are forgiven. I don't think anyone is truly struggling. And of course, Sam owns the restaurants. I would say
2, right? He owns 2 in San Francisco.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that there might be some smaller restaurants that are struggling. They just can't seem to get a hold. Maybe they're new. They don't have a following yet. So, obviously, so Lee has the let me finish my statement. Obviously, there's going to be smaller mom and pop shops, and they're not all universally doing well and could use the attention. Lee says OJ's in San Jose is not gone. Hours have been reduced somewhat, but it's still there. It's right next to my office. Okay, good. I was like, I feel like when I went to see the play with my son, I feel like I walked right across the street from it. But me, I'm sometimes oblivious to stuff. Okay, speaking of reviews. I have talked about this Facebook group before. I am still part of it. I know women who are single and dating who are part of it. I use it as I use it as entertainment as a married woman. I am not, although I will admit, I have seen one person that I know on this Facebook site. Now, if you've never heard of it, there's a Facebook group and it's like national. So I'm part of the one that's in the Bay Area and it's called Are We Seeing the Same Guy? Okay. And what it basically is, it's a bunch of women, I would assume, who call out bad guys. Okay. So basically, most of the time, this is what happens. Somebody asks, is there any tea on blank? And then in the comments, so it doesn't just show up if you're scrolling. You have to go into the comments. Okay. There'll be a picture, maybe the initials or something, or even the first name. Not the last name, but the first name of this guy. And either he's married, he's dating a lot of women, he's a love bomber and he'll ditch you. So basically it's if you were with your girlfriends and you're like, oh God, I dated that guy. He's the worst. And here is why. Okay. Or, oh my God, he totally hit on me and he's married, right? Like these are the things that these
What about
women
creepers? What about just guys that give you the EBGBs?
Well, I mean, you would be dating this guy. So yes, it could start like I went on one date and he was really weird. So I avoided him.
Okay.
Now, I love that you brought that scenario up because what's creepy to one person may not be creepy to the other. And so here is the story. A man is suing nearly 30 women, including the Facebook group's moderators, and Meta, because this is on Facebook, basically because they're saying that this website has ruined his reputation, subjected him to defamation, doxing, emotional distress, and more. Okay. So what's this guy's name? I just had it and I lost it. D'Ambrosio. That's his last name. He's from Chicago. Nico D'Ambrosio. He's 31 years old. He lives in Chicago. He says negative dating reviews about him were posted to the subgroup of the Facebook page, Are We Dating the Same Guy? He claims character assassination began in November when one defendant he had gone on a few dates with earlier in the year posted his photo to the page along with false and defamatory statements about him, then deleted it and reposted it anonymously after he reached out to her. One anonymous user said D'Ambrosio was, quote, very clingy, very fast, kept talking about how I don't want to see his bad side, and texted her on a different phone once she blocked his number. Other comments show red flag emojis, like a red flag, and say he ghosted them. Apparently, D'Ambrosio reached out to Facebook and Meta demanding the post be removed. They said no. A lawsuit alleges Facebook companies don't take action and willfully and intentionally continue to display the content to profit off advertising on the Are We Dating the Same Guy groups. Here's my question. Does he have a case? Do you think he has a case? Because it's his picture. It's his first name. I don't know if you know him, you probably know who he is. Or is this like women are allowed to give each other heads up on a Facebook page? And you know what? This is the age of social media. Cell phones, screenshots, things like that. Do you think he has a case?
I was going to say, I don't know. I was going to say it's like he said, she said, right? So how do you know if what happened is just one of these someone being negative or retaliatory for having a bad experience?
Right.
But if you're allowed to post, if I could go to an accountant and review their work, or if I could go to what is there, that website where you can tell you review a teacher,
Rate My Teacher or whatever. Yeah.
If I can review someone in that way, which could also be a he said, she said situation, or they said, they said, whatever, then why wouldn't I be able to review a date? It's just my opinion.
Exactly. It's just your opinion. Now, I will say this. Because this is where I legally, I'm not a lawyer. He'd have to fight this in court, and who knows how it's going to come out. But because there's these subgroups, like I mentioned, I am not dating anybody, but I was on the San Francisco Bay Area. Are We Dating the Same Guy? And I'm just scrolling and I'm reading comments. And then all of a sudden I click the comments and I see this picture and it's a guy I went to college with.
Oh.
And I was like,
what was wrong with him? What happened?
I think if I remember correctly, they said that he was a little clingy and that he was kind of a serial cheater, like he was dating or in a serious relationship and still dating other people, which is really the common thing. It's like, oh my God.
Right.
He was talking to me and he's been in this long-term relationship, or he's still married, but he claims that he's not, or he has kids and he doesn't talk, those sorts of things. But my thing is this. What is this any different than, let's say, and let's go to college. I live in a sorority house, right? And a guy's dating a bunch of girls and the girls are all chit-chatting about him. And he has a reputation for this, that, and the other. Because of social media, in many ways, it amplifies everything. So is the amplification the problem? Because I'm allowed to have my opinion, but because it's amplified, not just to people that the woman that's been scorned or whatever knows, but literally to people that don't know the women, that, have never heard of them. Now, all of a sudden, if I'm on Tinder and I see a photo and I'm like, that guy looks familiar, I go on, Are We Dating the Same Guy? There's a picture, the guy doesn't get a shot, right? Like, it's like now all of a sudden I'm being judged by this person. And it might not be true, or maybe they're the wackadoo, right? Like, who's to say that this woman was in her right mind or whatever? So that's the only reason I empathize, but I don't think that he has a case. I really don't.
Well, here's the difference, I guess, and I'll try to make an argument against it. But I think if you are reviewing someone's services online, people have to expect, I don't mean those services.
Right.
People have to expect that you're going to have a negative review. Not everyone's going to like a teacher, right?
Exactly.
Everyone has a personality thing. Not everyone's going to like a restaurant. Not everyone's going to like the walk away from an accountant or a nurse or a whatever,
Right.
happy, or a doctor, whatever. But when you're reviewing a date, that's personal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so that's like, I don't know, you kind of cross a boundary there when it's not a professional review. But I don't know. I mean, maybe then, and really anyone can sue anyone for anything, right? So if a restaurant owner is upset, they can sue someone for posting a negative review. That could happen too.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, I wonder do you need to have proof? Like if
How do
he
you
sued
prove that it
someone,
was a crappy date?
well, you could go with texts that are a little creepy,
And
like,
that's what they do. They screenshot these texts.
mhm,
So there's some evidence.
right? If there's evidence, then I don't see how you get around it.
Yeah. So here's some of the things that have been said about this guy. One woman said, I matched with him a month or so ago, but the conversation never went anywhere, which is, I would be like, okay, whatever. Maybe he wasn't interested in you. Another woman said, I went out with him a few times just over a year ago. He told me what I wanted to hear until I slept with him, and then he ghosted. I'd steer clear, which is a warning, right? I mean, I don't see there's anything wrong with that. And then this other woman has like 4 red flags. And she's like, he's been posted here before. The poster said he sent her a slew of texts calling her names because she didn't want to spend the night with him. I just searched, and this was on November 2nd. So take a look. So it's not as if it's like, oh my God, he's a pedophile, right? It's not like they're claiming something that is hands down not true and criminal. They're saying this guy's weird. He's a ghoster. He's a love bomber. He's this, that, the other, which again is an opinion. And I don't see anything wrong with sharing opinions. Anonymous makes a good point, though, right? Sorority stories are fine since everyone knows the guy. They have context from experiences. No need to bring in thousands of strangers with no context or familiarity. I agree, except Tinder exists. And so when your sorority house of eligible ladies is the internet, then also the internet can judge you, right? I mean, if you're going to go along this way, because that's how they find them. They're like, oh, it's this guy on Tinder or he's on Bumble. They're all on these dating apps. Stay off the freaking apps. Meet people in real life. I bet those people aren't going on, are we dating the same guy? Because it's not the same thing. They're screenshotting your picture from your Tinder profile or whatever, dating app you happen to be using. But people that leave negative reviews had a negative experience. And I would always take whether it's a restaurant, a teacher, or a date, a little bit of a grain of salt and say, hey, if you think the person's attractive and you want to give it a go, just know that they're probably not perfect. And
go and do it with your eyes open.
Yeah. And I think and it's a great way. I don't know. Women need to stand together. I will never, ever be like, you know what, men? The world bends your way in so many different instances that if women want to give each other a heads up and you just don't get your D, whatever, then sorry, you could find it a million different ways. I don't know if it's going to, I'll be interested to follow this though, to see if he actually is going to have a case. He's suing for like $75,000 in damages. So
can I tell you about this girl? Speaking of, there are nice guys in the world.
Okay. Who's this guy?
Kind of a blurry picture. Her car got stuck in the snow.
Oh, that guy looks familiar. Oh, I know who that is. Okay, go ahead.
A University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee student is now internet famous for getting her car stuck in the snow. Her name is Lucy Karowski, and she got all types of attention over the weekend because Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love tried to help her get her car out of a snowbank in De Pere. She was home visiting family when she got stuck, and Love noticed her predicament and started to push her car. But Karowski said she stopped him, saying, "You have a big game this weekend." She knew who he was. Eventually, she got her car out and even got a selfie with Love to remember the day by.
Oh, that is so awesome. I mean, yeah, there he is.
Yeah. She's like, "You can't push my car. You need to save your arm." That's funny.
Yeah, well, he can, between now and Saturday, Love can suck it because we're playing him on Saturday.
How cute is that, though? What a nice guy.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Harry says the Pack will show the Niners some love this weekend. Screw the Pack. Yeah, I'm really excited. I have a family member that's a huge Packers fan, so I love to talk crap. I'm telling you, this was Dallas taking it in the shorts. even though they try to make a bit of a comeback, was awesome. I mean, I want a good game. Obviously I want to blow out for the Niners against the Green Bay Packers, but it's going to be, we have 2 games. I mean, there's so much today happening for football lovers out there like myself. So it's going to be the Emmys are on tonight. We could talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Although I feel like with the Golden Globes, because they incorporate TV as well, I always feel like, it's like the Emmys were delayed. So I kind of feel like it's whatever.
There was also the Critics' Choice Awards over the weekend. And
Oh,
I know about it
interesting.
because Tim Seca was there at the Critics' Choice Award.
That's right. Did
Yeah.
Tim, and I apologize, did Tim like Mean Girls?
He said there was some parts of it that were like, but overall he'd recommend it.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm hoping that Tim likes it. And I wasn't able to
Yeah.
watch his
It wasn't like
movie
his
reviews.
favorite movie of all time, but he
Of
said,
course not.
it got slow in some parts for me. It was cliche in some parts, but overall he'd recommend.
All right. Well, one final thing before I let you go. Today, it's not only MLK Day. It's not only the Iowa Caucus Day. It's not only 2 Monday football days and everything and the Emmys.
And Bagel Day.
And Bagel Day. It is Blue Monday. All right. Now, this is, I guess, something that was first introduced on the now defunct UK television channel Sky Travel all the way back in 2005. Okay. So basically, they say the 3rd Monday of January is the most depressing day of the year.
Oh, no.
And the reason they say it's post-holiday come down, resolution failure, a financial reckoning, like all those bills are coming, and the long nights of winter. Yeah. I don't know. I saw the resolution thing. I'm doing pretty well. I was telling Kim before the show, if I could show you a picture of what my this desk that I'm on right now look like versus it looking like now, I'm so proud of myself. Like it's so clean. I used to have stacks of paper. I organized all my papers, get all my tax stuff ready. Didn't do as well. So I had a resolution last year to get my tax with the business and the personal situated. I've made improvements. I have even more improvements for next year that I'm going to make, and I'm already started that. But I feel like I'm doing pretty well on my resolutions. I'm trying to really stay positive and do all those sorts of things. I'm moving more, although I forgot to put my Fitbit on, but I haven't really moved much this morning, so I'll be putting that on after the show. But yeah, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. But apparently they say Mondays also are already, not the most favorite day. 58% of people declare Monday their least favorite day of the week.
But it's a holiday.
Well, today is.
For a lot of people.
In the United States, it is.
Yeah.
Because the 3rd Monday of the month is MLK Day. And today's actually his birthday. So it actually fell on his birthday this year, which is kind of nice. My daughter was very confused. She thought that Martin Luther King Day honored his passing. And I go, no. It honors his birthday. I'm like, we're not marking it that way. I mean, yes, he was assassinated, but we're marking all of the amazing things that Martin Luther King Jr. did today. And again, if you could be of service in any way, small or large, you should use today for that. But Mondays aren't my favorite day. But you know what I do have is I have this Sunday, not Sunday blues, but that Sunday dread. Oh, like the work week's going to come. Like there's this cloud kind of hanging over Sundays. Again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we went to the drive-ins on Friday, and that made my Saturday feel like a Sunday. And then I knew that it was a Saturday, so Saturday was awesome. I was like, oh, because we did something on Friday night, so it made it seem really awesome. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not really blue on this Blue Monday. I think that it's fine, but again, apparently,
sad little coffee cup.
I know. And SAD, seasonal, what is it called? It's
affective
disorder. Yeah. That is a real form of depression. So, if you need to talk to somebody, to try and get yourself out of it, you should do that. So they have this New York Post article is really cute. So they said they have it broken down with your astrological signs on how you can turn that frown upside down. Okay. So I'll go through them quickly as we end the show. So if you're an Aries, they say ice roll your face, which I don't want to do when it's cold, but whatever.
Roll your face?
Yes. It's a form of cold therapy. You can get a roller for your face and you freeze it.
Okay.
And so it improves circulation, promoting lymphatic drainage, and keeps your skin high and tight. So any Aries people out there do that. If you're a Taurus, you should buy yourself a succulent. Apparently, they're really hardy plants. You can't really kill a succulent unless you're me. They're really easy to. You can just spray them with some water, and they should live. So you can do that. Gemini, that's my
me.
son, and that's my son. Read, don't scroll. They're like, has anyone ever felt better after spending 4.5 hours on TikTok? No. As a gift to yourself, put down the phone and pick up a book, which goes with what we were talking about earlier. So there you go. If you're a Cancer, that's my mom. Make yourself the kind of meal meant to be enjoyed in the cold and dark, like a hearty mushroom soup. Light a candle or pour yourself a robust red. I like that idea.
Oh, I like that.
Exactly. Leo, seek the sunshine in the northern hemisphere. That's Julia. Okay, so spend some hours in daylight. You, as a Leo, you need it the most. And if you can't find any sunlight, consider investing in a light therapy lamp. Okay, whatever. Virgo, that's my dad. Dance it out. Dance is the powerful way to improve your mood. The benefits of dancing include relief of physical tension, anxiety, and aggression. If you're a Libra, add some color to your home, maybe through a loud pillow, a blood red tea kettle, or a neon vibrator. Ooh, okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. That is a good morning. Scorpio, that's me. Take a breath break. Deep breathing exercises can psychologically and physiologically calm you down by lowering your heart rate and release muscle tension. A few more. Sagittarius, they advise you to get hyped about a future plan. A study shows people who make and keep plans from coffee dates to vacations are happier than those with wide open spaces ahead of them. Capricorn, go sweat outside. That can include working out or taking a nice brisk walk. Aquarius, just pick up that phone and call a friend. They say a proper catch-up has been scientifically proven to reduce the risk of depression. Pisces, this is my daughter.
My husband.
This is perfect. Make your bed and make your bed a nest. Yes, Marley. Do you hear me? Begin by making your bed.
She's going to be like, no way, Mom. It doesn't say that.
Exactly.
Yes, it does.
It says make your bed each morning so it feels like an irresistible invitation to get into it every single night. Yep. So there you go. That's how you can turn this Blue Monday into a happier day just for you. Oh, Cindy, you've made my Blue Monday happier by giving us a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, guys. We really do appreciate all the donations. Doug came in also with a $5 super sticker. Calvin, $20 and a message to Mayor Libby Schaaf. Twist some arms to reform the CPUC. Not sure she can, but I'm sure she can influence it. And if she becomes treasurer, again, libbyschaaf.com, 2 A's, 1 F in Schaaf. And SJ Lola with $20. And I'm so jealous. Aloha from Maui. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Dora just came in with a $10 super sticker. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dora.
Thank you.
You guys, honestly, you make the show worth it. We need your support. We're 100% crowdfunded. So please, if you can, go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. Sign up for a monthly Patreon. It's just a one-time a month payment, a monthly tip to the show, as I like to say. And you become an official Medorable. And we love each and every one of you. If you like PayPal, that's easy. Just go to paypal.com. You hit the send button, and then it'll ask for an email address to send the money to. And it's thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. We have the merch shop. I have t-shirts coming for myself that don't just have the logo, have funny little sayings. So I'll be showing those off as well. So go check those out at thenikkimedoroshop.com. And of course, click that thumbs up button to show your support for the show. I love you guys. Stay here for the Mark Thompson Show with Kim McAllister. And then Kim McAllister and John Daly, of course, do the 1 hour after party live, which is just so much fun. And it really is a really, really fun show to round out your day. Don't make it a Blue Monday. Make it a happy day. Stay right here. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.